What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Art of Suffering podcast with Dalton Darnell. Today, we have a very special guest, somebody from outside the realm of cowboying. So, my guest today is Demarcus Sharp. He is Wiley's jiu-jitsu instructor and my jiu-jitsu instructor. And I thought it would be really cool to kind of get his take on suffering, some of his life experiences through the fighting world and his work life, being a husband and a dad. He's got a little bit different thing going on with me. He's raising a daughter and I'm raising sons. So that's kind of a different perspective there that I don't really know anything about. So Demarcus, welcome. I would love to get started with kind of where you're from and where you grew up and a little bit of your history for everybody.
Sure thing. Yeah. Born and raised in Montgomery, Alabama. History. Like I said, I'm born here, spent most of my life here. Started doing MMA fighting when I was about 16, started training when I was 16, started fighting when I was 18, fought, I think I retired around 21, 22, right around the time I was having my first child and only child, and started working from there. I do like line construction right now, and I am a jiu-jitsu black belt. I enjoy teaching. I'm starting up a kids program out of Next Gen, that program you're a part of, looking to, work through it and make it a very good product for everyone.
What now, did you retire because you were having your firstborn? Is that why you shut her down?
Well, it was a mix of things. It was, I can imagine the life of being a cowboy is very hard, and being a professional athlete was a full-time, 6-7 day a week job, and it wasn't paying the bills yet. And it was I love the sport. I love the art of it, but kind of the business of it can be scummy. Some of the business dealings that I had been a part of just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was getting to the point where I wasn't enjoying it as much, and I was just having a very hard time finding fights. I did want to do that as my career. And after a year and a half of not having a fight, and that being my profession, it wasn't looking well for me. And, I know I want to support my family. And so I started working then, with the hopes to kind of keep MMA fighting. And I got to the point where I felt like from the fights I had, I knew that it's not something I wanted to do half-heartedly. I wanted to be able to give my all to it, because I felt as if the consequences of not giving your all to it were I've seen a lot of people get hurt, basically permanently. I didn't want that to be my story, and so I took other opportunities.
It's funny you say that. There's two things you said there that correlate really well with the audience here, in my life in particular. So in the cowboy world, if you're going to go be a cowhand on a place, they don't pay nothing. And they basically utilize your love for what you do to pay you nothing.
Yes.
Because you love it, they can justify, like, you're going to come do it just because you love it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing that you said that's very near and dear to my heart is when you cowboy, when you take care of calves or cows or yearlings or whatever, cutting corners costs something. A wreck will happen faster if you choose to cut a corner than anything you've ever seen, because the livestock will highlight your corner cutting, so to speak, the same way your opponent would in the ring, like, or in the cage or whatever. So if you're not giving 150% every single day to make sure that your cattle are taken care of, your horses are in the right spot, you're doing your due diligence, they're gonna show that.
Yes.
Every single time. That's funny. That's interesting about the first thing I heard when you started talking was like these people who set up these fights manipulate these fighters because they love the sport.
Oh yeah.
And they don't pay them anything because they'll do it anyway. They just want to freaking fight people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's terrible.
I guess another thing too, I don't know if this is similar in the cowboy world, is I've seen many attempts of fighters to try to unionize and try to kind of get better working environments for all fighters, kind of like maybe like a minimum pay or some type of retirement program or you know, some basic health care, you know, something like that. And it's always undercut because from my point of view, they can always find somebody to take a fight, even if they shouldn't. I remember I've had situations where I've had so many fights canceled and so many short notice replacements that I didn't really want that to be a part of my professional career. And I had a fight changed out, and when I looked up the guy's record, I was like, this guy just he has no business being in the cage with me. Like he's lost all of these, he seems as if he's part-timing it. And he ended up pulling out, and they found a guy who they were going to pay, who was on like a 10-fight losing streak. They were going to pay all his fees to become a professional fighter, to fill the ticket for me. And I was like, this is not, let's just do right. Let's find a better opponent, or let's do it. But I feel like as long as you have people who are willing to do that, and it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because it's kind of like, I feel like sometimes they get you on the warrior's mindset. Like, if you're a warrior, you should be willing to step in at the worst possible time and, hold everything up. And I feel like that's part of the manipulation tactics that they use, is they play on people's wanting to be warriors and, willing to put themselves in not the best situation. And I get it. Those, these guys they're betting on themselves. And a lot of times that's the best bet you can have. And I've been blacklisted by moving away from that type of mindset, where before in my earlier career, I was willing to take anything. But as I was like, hey, if I want this to be a thing, I need to be more intentional with my choices. And I felt as if I had been blacklisted by being more intentional and not just taking whatever was given.
Yeah. And that's a thing too. It's one interesting thing to me about cowhands, and I've met a bunch of them all over the world, really, is it's like the more something sucks, the more they want to do it.
Yeah.
Like the harder it is, the grittier it is. It's like and while you're doing it, it's not fun. But the story you get afterwards is like, yeah, buddy, I climbed that mountain on that piece of crap cult I had, and it's funny to me, the warrior mindset. I talk about that a lot on this podcast, because my belief, and just so everybody knows at home, I don't really, me and Demarcus haven't discussed Christ very much or any of this stuff, honestly, other than really jujitsu and kind of fatherhood. We talk about work a little bit, but most of the time at jiu-jitsu class, I'm getting choked out by Master Newsom's son, and we don't have time to discuss life. So it's we haven't talked about this much, but on this podcast, I talk a lot about being a warrior. So as a man, that's what we're called to be for Christ, in my opinion, is a warrior. And the battle, so to speak, is with the enemy. And God gives us the tools to do this and trains us over our lives through suffering in order to be able to combat the enemy when it comes to our wives and our family. And so I talk about that quite a bit as far as like the mindset of a young man going into his adulthood, understanding the fact that suffering is going to be a keynote part of what he's going to do as a father and as a husband, like, period, end of story. So the big 310 behind me. So it's a 3, right here. And then the 0, the circle is the 0, and then the 1 is a 10, right? That's our brand. And that brand comes from Philippians 3:10, and it says, "For our determined purpose is to come to know the King and to share in his sufferings in order to be transformed into his likeness."
Right on.
So basically, we're asked to know God and suffer to be like him. And there's been a lot of days I've regretted that we picked that verse for this company, but that's kind of our mantra, our calling card is to suffer, right? And so it's always very interesting to me how men look at these things. And even those little kids at martial arts, like, or, even Todd's son, Micah, that dude just wants to fight with you. You know what I mean? And I don't mean I don't mean he's vicious or rude or disrespectful in any way. Like, that's just what he freaking likes to do, man. Yeah. Like, when you ask him, hey, do you want to do drills or you want to roll? The answer is the same every week. I want to freaking roll, dude. Yeah. And y'all don't get me wrong now. There's a whole nother level of humility. Some skinny 18-year-old kid choking you out. Because I might not look like it, but I'm a pretty strong guy. Yeah. And this kid's like fighting a spider. It's freaking terrible. But anyway, I don't know. Speak to that. As you're growing up, like, what were your parents like? Did they want you to fight, or did you learn to do that as a kid, or how did you even wake up one morning like, getting punched in the face sounds like a great time?
I feel like how I came to fighting is probably like a very similar story that everyone has. Is have an older brother. That was what we did every day. We, hey, it's 3:30. Knock on his door. We would just fight. And, but how I started training traditionally or, through a gym was, I wanted to join the military. That was kind of like where I saw myself. Like, I felt like that was, one of the best missions, to be a warrior. And, I was like, how can I prepare myself for that? And, I got into exercising and such. But I was like, maybe learning how to fight would, help that out. And
I would agree with that.
Exactly. So I went through a couple gyms, and it was pretty much all the gyms I've been a part of. They've always, especially locally here in the Southeast, they all have a strong military culture with them, especially jiu-jitsu. So I got a chance to talk to a lot of those guys and see it from their point of view from all different branches of service. And I just stuck with it. I took a fight right when I got out of high school, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going and just see how far this takes me. And, man, it's given me many opportunities, the amount of people I've met. And I think the thing about the warrior mindset is that it's such a powerful, such a driving force, and it's so essential. I think where it can get lost and manipulated is kind of not having like rites of passage. Like my parents, they were kind of indifferent to my martial arts training. Like my dad supported it, but after a couple months, he was like, "Yeah, I'm not paying for this anymore." Yeah. Luckily I was able to, strike a deal with the coaches, cleaning, teaching to kind of, keep things going. And that carried my martial arts like lifestyle majority of the time, being able to give back. And but yeah, just I learned so much from those rites of passages that I feel like I had, a lot of it being suffering, a lot of it being like around older, more experienced men and who were giving me advice and who were, hey, you need to be tougher. Hey, you know how you can be tougher? You can run, you can do sit-ups every day, and I gleaned a lot from that. I think that a lot of that made me who I am today. And that's one of the things I really like about martial arts is that ability to give that back. And I see that a lot in our culture, especially with our young men, that they need something that signals that they have reached adulthood and they're not kids anymore.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, suffering is the name of the game. Probably 10 times out of 10.
100%. 100%. When we found out we were having Wiley,
he's a great kid.
Thank you very much. He is a gift from God. He has got a big motor, baby. He's wild.
Yeah.
A lot of fun though. I read this book. So two times in my life, lots of people on the podcast have heard this before, but 2 times in my life, God created this sense of searching in me. Like when I went to get married, it was almost like a panic. Like I was like kind of panicking. I was like, oh God, I don't know how I'm going to take care of this woman, And I joined the military and I went to tech school about 2 months after we got married. And I read this book in tech school called Things Men Only Know. Unbelievable book. Really kind of helped me understand what my role was as a man, really. Because the ushering into manhood, this initiation you're talking about, is something that is so far lost in our society, and as fathers have sons and all of the things. And so when I had my son, he came out, I quit my job cowboying full time because I was making like $320 a week, and I worked 6 days a week, daylight to dark. And I wasn't going to give my $320 to some gal down the road to raise my kid. So my wife was making all the money. She paid all the bills. I quit my job and stayed home with Wiley. And I went to my granddad. My granddad was a marriage and family counselor my whole life. And I went to him and I said, if you could give me one book on fatherhood, what would you give me? Because I don't know how to raise this kid. I don't know how to make a kid a man, And so the book he gave me is called Fathered by God by John Eldredge. And basically this guy goes through all the stages of manhood. And what you're talking about, that initiation process, if that does not happen, what you have is a little boy in a man's body walking around in life and is looked at as a man, but in his brain is a little boy and doesn't understand his ass from his elbow. You know what I'm saying? Like more lost than last year's Easter egg. It's terrible. Yeah. And so that's basically what this entire podcast is about. The whole mission of 310 was to buy a ranch somewhere, have men come in and work with us, and then we do life in the trench of cowboying because it's suffering. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it's freaking hard. It's just like jujitsu. Jujitsu is the hardest 2 minutes I've ever experienced in my life trying to choke that kid out.
Yeah.
And you come up with this in your brain. You're like, you can't, there's stars all in your eyes. You can't see nothing. And you're like, that was the funnest thing I've ever done in my whole life. I want to do that again. I might need to go throw up first. But, and it's this odd thing in your brain where you don't really know why you want to do it, but you want to do it because that's what God made you to be. Yes. But you don't really understand it. You know, you don't get it then.
Yeah. I think it's similar to like, it's like intuitive, or like it's in us, kind of like, you know, when you play hide and seek with your kids, you're like, yeah, we're just, you know, your kid, while they ask you to play hide and seek, and, you know, it's your turn to hide, and you're kind of like, yeah, whatever. But then once that he's counting to 20, once it gets down, you kind of feel like, hold on, like, I don't want to be found, you know?
Right.
And they get close to you, and you kind of like, and you know that the stakes are so low.
Yeah.
So, like when we're rolling, we know we can, that our partner, you know, we try to do a lot of work to explain how to be a good partner, and, you know, how to release these submissions, and, you know, how to tap, how to know when, how to even tap for your partner. But going back to that hide and seek analogy, like, you know, when your son gets so close and you're almost about to be found, but, you know, you kind of feel like a rush.
Yeah.
Your body. And like, you know, if you had to think about it, hide and seek is like the first survival game that you learn, you know, as a kid. Like, you're a kid, you're not fighting, you're hiding, you know, that it's essential. And I think fighting's kind of like that, like whether you like it for the artistry of it, like being able to do these different moves and to, you know, just kind of have something that you can continuously work on, or you just like it for like that feeling of like, hey, this is all that there is right now. Like if I know we're in Prattville on the mats, but right now I feel like that if I don't get through this, there's no more anything. There's no grocery list on your mind. You know, the honey-do list disappears. It's and it is fun, because sometimes I think it's kind of like a reset, like a value reset a little bit, you know. Things I think sometimes suffering kind of resets, like it resets everything. You know, like
a thankfulness.
Exactly.
Like you come out feeling thankful. You're like, man, I'm glad I don't do this for a living.
Man, I'm glad I can go to the grocery store now. Like,
yes,
that's going to be easy. And like, nobody's going to be choking me. What?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if some random dude grabs my kid, I'm going to choke him.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a level of confidence, dude. I tell my family, like, because I go to Sunday dinner right after jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, somebody that knows this much jiu-jitsu, this much will whoop the piss out of you.
Yeah.
This much. Like, if they know how to grab you, it's a problem. And if you know this much and they know this much, you're in trouble.
Exactly.
Like, you're in trouble. Unless you just get lucky. Which, like, I think, like, rolling with Micah Sunday, I hadn't been able to swallow right all week. It's freaking so annoying. Anyway.
Yeah, as I've gotten older, I tap sooner because I tell people that I want to eat later. Like, when I was his age, you basically had to break my neck.
Yeah.
For me to tap. Like,
that's how he is, dude. I got him the first time we rolled, and this is the benefit. If Micah, if you're listening, this is the benefit to being an old man or older man. The older you get and the more you hurt, you know to go to 150 out the gate against somebody like him. Like, if I'm rolling with Joel, we're just chilling. We're both at 50%, just going, figuring it out. But with Micah, it's like, while I got steam, I'm coming out of the gate with some pop, dude. And he was at about 75% because I'm 12, 14 years older than him, and he's got a little respect, And I got him that first time because I came out hard. Yeah. Well, then next two times, he came out with 150, son. He friggin', and I knew Dude, Demarcus, I knew from the second he grabbed me, the second time we rolled, the second he grabbed the back of my neck, I was like, God dang it. Dang it. I should have gone home after the first one because he
Hey, I gotta go,
freaking
man. I appreciate it.
smoked me.
And you were awesome, but I gotta get out of here. Thanks
Yes,
for
no, I'm not even kidding. I mean, I'm not even kidding. And then he asked to go again. He was like, you want to roll one more time? I was like, and I said to him, I said, I am going to regret this.
Yeah.
I am absolutely going to regret this.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible.
After he asked me to roll like the third or fourth time, I'm like, yeah, I'm in like almost 100% stall mode.
Yes.
Just like, I feel like when I'm rolling with him, like my goal is, you remember when you were a kid and you had your bicycle upside down and you
Yes.
stick through the spoke to get it to slow down. Like I
Yes.
just feel like I'm just trying to do anything just to slow him down.
Yeah.
So I can even figure out what's going on. Like sometimes like when I get done rolling with him, like I feel like I've had like an anxiety attack. He's
Just
moving
freaking
so fast, and I'm just like
everywhere.
I'm just I can't process.
What's funny to me, the funniest part is watching him roll with his dad.
They go well.
Like he wants to beat his dad so freaking bad, and Todd is he looks like he's laying on the couch. He's just like,
oh, that's just
I mean, slow.
Yeah, that's years of martial arts training. He's like, yeah, I've seen this before, and
yeah.
I was telling Todd, I was like, yeah, when he gets his man strength, we're all going to be in trouble.
Oh, son, nah, you ain't gonna find me in there. Hey, I'm humbled. You hear me? Humility comes before glory. I ain't looking for that glory. I'm humble. I know my age. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to stay over there with Joel and be like, go get him, buddy. We're going to go watch him fight this week. Me and Wiley are going to go up there early just because I want to watch him spar.
Yeah, no, I didn't know he was going to be entering a sparring. Okay, I can't wait. Yeah, know what? Nicole did tell me that.
Yeah. He's, and I told him, he probably thinks I'm like fangirling or something, but he's an impressive young man.
He really is.
I mean, I look at myself as a father, and that's my hope. Is whatever Wiley wants to do, whether it's martial arts or whatever, is that he carries and conducts himself in that way at the age of 18. It's very impressive. It's very rare to see a young man carry himself that way, much less get in there and teach other kids, and he's good at it and all the things.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, let's segue into a little something else. So you have... and I'm just going to brag on you a little bit here off the jump. So your daughter, it's Estella, right? With an A. Estella. Okay. Estella is every ounce of an 8-year-old warrior. Like when she spars at martial arts and she kicks those other boys in the chest with their chest protectors on, there's a little pop behind it. You know what I'm talking about? Like when she does her forms and she's doing her stuff, man, that kid has the mind that I hope Wiley does in 2 years. So I want you to speak a little to that and how you developed it. And then kind of what, like you have a daughter, which is a totally different thing for me. Like, I don't even know how I'm going to treat a daughter if I ever have one, but you have a very sweet, respectful young lady on your hands that could grab another 8-year-old boy and absolutely whoop the piss out of him. You know what I mean? Like, that's perfect balance and harmony in my mind. Is like a sweet kid that can handle themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I have a great wife. You know, she has a great mother, and we talked about our values about, you know, raising our daughter and kind of what we thought were important. And, you know, we both, we met through martial arts, and we both have, you know, we've been involved in athletics, and we think that's important. And, we both have shortcomings ourselves, you know, almost things that we don't want our daughter to inherit. You know, we don't want her to inherit like a fear of people or, you know, or like shame or, you know, fear of being up in public. So, but we also want her to be well-rounded too. And sometimes I think in this culture, like sometimes I feel like even kids as young as ours, like they can be so specialized, which is nothing wrong with that. But, we tried to kind of put her in different avenues. Like, I guess I'll say it like she's doing softball for the first time this year. And she's like the only kid on the team who, doesn't have a extensive softball background. And she likes it. And I think she likes like growing at it. Like she's not upset because she's not the best person on the team. And we didn't want her to have that attitude that if you're not the best person on the team, you get to quit. And and it is different with her daughter, because I would have bet my life that I was going to have a son. Like, my mom and dad, they wanted a daughter. They got 3 sons. My older brother, he wanted a daughter. He got 2 sons. I was like, oh yeah, I don't even think we can have we can have daughters.
Yeah.
And of course I have a daughter. And, me and Nicole's partnership helps out a lot. We get to balance out each other. And, because sometimes, like, I know you heard about her sparring experience where she did go against this was a good sized kid. He was a stout kid, and he got some good licks on her. He has some good timing. He knew what punch he liked. He knew how he liked to throw it, and she walked into it, and she was crying, and I was right there, like, we'll get him. I didn't say it, but it was ready to. We'll get it. I wanted to tell her, we'll get him next time. And Nicole was like, "No, you're getting up right now. You're gonna put it back on. You're going back out there."
Dude, I'd have been the same way as you. I'd have been like, "Come on, baby, let's go get some ice cream. It's cool."
Yes, I wanted to. I didn't say it. I'm glad I didn't say it, but I didn't say anything. I was just kind of like, "Hey, control your breathing. Hey, he's throwing this. Let's try to switch your stance. Remember that you got to use your footwork." And but I couldn't get her to calm down. And we have been working on calming down, but I couldn't get her to calm down. And she was giving me those Disney eyes, and I wanted to save her. But that saving your kid is not going to save your kid. I tell Nicole all the time, I was like, I'm so glad that you were there to walk out there and say, nope, you're not quitting. Get up right now, go out there and fight that boy.
Yeah.
And she went out there and she put it on him. Like, this sounds awful because they're kids. But at one point I was like, I think she might have, put a little sting on him.
It's not awful. It's what they need. It's what that kid needs. It's what she needs. It's what they all need.
And I mean, I was ready to fight too. I was like,
where's his daddy?
Where's his dad? Where's his coach?
Right.
With the wrong one. But I was like, what are we teaching here? We're supposed to be in this, things happen. And it was a great lesson. And I was glad. I was glad she got it. And me and Nicole talked about how we even wanted to tell that story. We thought it was very important how we told her that story, that when we told that story, we always emphasized her bravery.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, we didn't want to just tell it as a win-loss. Like, hey, you went, you had an obstacle, you had a chance to quit, you didn't quit. Sometimes we leave out the part that you didn't even have an option to quit, but but you were brave, you were courageous, you went out there and you did what you needed to do, and you can do that. And, so we try to tell her stories about her accomplishments, but in a balanced way. Like we try to, hey, you had good. We like that you had good sportsmanship today. We like how you treated your training partners. We like the effort that you gave, in a winning performance and a losing performance. I think that's something that can be underlooked, is how you tell the perception that you give your kids around, because you're kind of telling them how to view the world.
You're painting the picture of what actually happened.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally agree with that. It's interesting. It's interesting you say that, because everybody listening, you just got to know this kid. So Wiley is hands down the smallest person in jiu-jitsu, or he was for a couple of weeks. And Estella would end up rolling with him. And it's because the other boys would just not, like, the other boys didn't even want to roll with him because he's little and didn't know what he was doing, and they want to fight. But she would almost take care of the kid while she's rolling with him, and then walk right out of that situation of being kind into rolling with Mason and, like, flip a switch.
Yeah.
To where she's like, okay, now I'm going to go 100, and then just goes to rolling with Mason. You know what I mean? And so the way that you're painting this for her is creating an extremely balanced human. And that's what we look for in horses. Like in a horse, I want to be able to go fast when I want to go fast. I want to be able to go slow when I want to go slow. And so we try to create a really balanced partnership with them. And the way you're doing that with your kid is commendable. It's very impressive. It takes a mother and a father. For sure. To do this.
I mean, it takes a village. I mean, me and Nicole, we try our best, but I mean, my mother, her sister, we have, I mean, it's a whole village raising this, raising Estella, She has her next gen family. That's probably one of the biggest things that has drawn and kept us at next gen is the community that it has. If you do martial arts long enough, you're gonna be workable at it. Whether you have the most amazing coach or you just have me, you're gonna be workable at it. But I think the thing that keeps people around and gets them to a workable level is having a community that, hey, I can take care of you until you get bigger, until you get stronger, until you get more knowledgeable. It's not going to be, I'm going to grab your head and just.
Yeah, somebody just whooping on you till you're good.
Yeah. And when I was coming up in martial arts, to a large extent, that was kind of how it was. It was like, and I'm sure cowboying has many of those facets 100%.
That 100%. 100%. You're a dink till you're not. You know what I mean?
He wasn't meant to be here because he couldn't do it barefoot for 100 days, Yeah. But why were we doing that? I don't know. That's what they did to me.
Yes. Yeah, very similar. There's a lot of people accuse the cowboy world of a lot of gatekeeping, right? And we kind of we don't do that, obviously. We post everything online. I post instructional videos. Like, my goal is to surround myself with people who know the job and who are good at it, because the job's way more fun when everyone's on my level as opposed to having a bunch of people under me, if that makes sense. It would be, I would say it'd be very similar if you're a black belt around a bunch of white belts. Like, it's not even fun, you know, like I can choke you at any minute I can get you. And having the grace to let people figure that out, because cowboying is a very challenging skill to acquire, is part of it. I talked about it in a further episode. I talked about the progression of skills, and then I talked about the suffering that you endure in each progression. So the way that looks is, in the beginning, you're unconsciously incompetent, meaning you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And like, you can look at jiu-jitsu and go, well, man, I can go out there and roll around with those guys and freaking get something done. You don't know what you don't know. And then the second you get choked on a bit, you become consciously incompetent. Now I'm aware that I don't know anything, and then I need some skills. And that's pretty much the longest stage of the whole process. And as you work through that, you end up becoming consciously competent, meaning that you can do it, you have some skill sets, but you have to really think through everything that's happening, right? It's like when I'm practicing those drills at jiu-jitsu, and I know what to do with my hands, but I can't get my feet to do it at the same time. That's conscious competence, right? And then you get to your skill set with jiu-jitsu, or mine with roping, and you would be unconsciously competent, meaning that I can do it without thinking. It's just your hand goes here, mine goes here, and when I throw my rope, I catch my slack and go to the horn. It's all just very buttery, smooth, right? Mm-hmm. And the suffering I talked about enduring during that final stage is teaching new people. Like, it's very challenging to be unconsciously competent at something and start somebody from scratch, like your kid. Yeah. It's very challenging because it's annoying almost. It's like, dude, just do it. Like, just grab your slack and pull it. Like, but what you forget, and what you have to have grace for, is that it took you hundreds of hours for it to be unconscious, just, you know, in your brain. And so it's very interesting. I see a lot of correlation between a lot of things with roping, because that's what I do. It's what that's probably the only thing I'm unconscious at, really, at this point in my life. But so from there, let's talk. You've talked about Nicole a little bit. Let's talk about your views on marriage. Like, when did you meet her? Getting married, like, and I want you to imagine you're talking to somebody that is not married, that might be about to get married. And I would count my marriage as the hardest, most rewarding thing I've ever gotten good at. I mean, it totally changed every fiber of my being, becoming a husband, and then attempting to be a good one. And I think this is something that young men in particular, or even grown men who've been married a long time, don't necessarily take as serious as they should. I don't think that anyone prepares you. They're like, hey, get married, get after it. You know what I mean? Have some babies. And then nobody tells you what's coming. You know what I mean?
So what was your first question?
So when you were getting married, what was your thought process on that? Like, were you just like, oh, I love her, I'm going to get married, or were you worried about it?
We're still not married yet.
What?
Yeah.
You and Nicole aren't married?
Yeah, we keep pushing it off.
How long have y'all been together?
We've been together almost 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Demarcus, it's time, buddy. Today. Let's do it today.
Yes. It's past time.
I can't do it. I'm not a preacher, but we could find one, surely.
Wish you were.
Hey, I bet Todd Newsom would do it. He's a preacher, isn't he? Awesome. Yeah, dude, just do it in the gym at jiu-jitsu on Sunday.
Really should.
You should, dude. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so let's talk about this. That's good. Let's talk about this. So what in life has brought you to this point? Is it fear? Surely not.
Marriage?
Yeah.
No. It's kind of, I don't know how to express it. It's just, I just feel like we put it off so many times. Like, we've had things come up We was like, no, we're going to do it this time. We're going to do it that time. Like we have everything we need to do it. Like we have rings, we have it all. We've said yes, you know. We just haven't set the date and went through with it.
So life,
yeah,
that's real.
Life, that's not a good excuse.
Well, it's not, to me, it's not about excuses. It's about, there's a couple of different ways you look at this, in my opinion. So like you look at, I believe the husbandry aspect. So the Bible says to us, men, do for your wives what Christ did for the church. That's what it says. Well, what Christ did for the church was he died. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so there's this level of mourning that we talk about, that I talk about quite a bit, that like once you choose to become a husband, and you've chosen to become a husband, standing in front of a preacher is one thing, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Once you choose to become a husband, you immediately are required by your covenant from God to choose your wife over yourself, in my opinion. Now, this is a very difficult thing to do, and this re-ups with every kid you have. So with every kid you have, it's like, okay, what I want doesn't matter. I'm going to sacrifice my own needs or wants and survival for them. And it's interesting to me. That's funny. I did not know that. You would not, I could not have guessed that. Like, I don't wear a ring. I have a tattoo, so I don't really base it off of the ring thing because I hate them. But that's interesting. How does Nicole feel about that? Because she's pretty laid back. Like,
and I think that's kind of like one of the thing that has led to it being pushed back so long is because we're so both laid back on it, and like we both are so like self-sacrificing on it, where we, you know, now we're approaching 10 years and it's still on our to-do list.
If she was pushing, you'd do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If she was like, "Hey, bro, we're getting me," you'd be like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, because why not? You know what I mean?
Sometimes I feel like the situation's like, I think we should get married this year, or we could get a pool. I was like, well, I think we could do both. Like, let's do both.
Yeah.
We can get married by the pool, you know.
Hey, for all the listeners who aren't from Alabama, a pool's awful nice in Alabama.
Yeah.
It's a hot son of a gun down here, but
or like we'll save, you know, for our marriage, and then, you know, we've had like car trouble, or man, we really need to you know, to do this. But yeah, that's definitely, I'm gonna make that my goal this year. It would be done.
Yeah, do it.
Be done this year.
Freaking do it, man. Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Well, I hate to hit you with a whammy like that on a podcast. Like, God dang. Well,
all honesty.
Well, that's what the whole thing's about. I did this episode earlier this week, dude, about imposter syndrome. And because here's the thing, dude, like I got all kinds of bull crap. The Bible calls it flesh, sin, whatever you want to call it. Dude, I am just basically a piece of garbage. And I'm sitting in front of this microphone, in front of this camera, talking about Jesus. And I'm like, the enemy just constantly berates you with, you're full of garbage, dude. Like who gave you the right to sit on here and talk about this? And so I say in the episode, I'm like, it's not about that. It's not about being on a pedestal. It's not about being better than anybody else. It's about sharing the suffering. It's about sharing the shortcomings, because I believe wholeheartedly that if we don't share them, the enemy wins, because nobody can learn from them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If your parents never teach you how to say, "I'm wrong, my bad," well, you end up with a man that doesn't know how to say, "I'm wrong, my bad." You know? And so that's kind of the premise of the whole deal. And my hope was, like, I'm obviously really in depth in the cowboy world. So obviously I'm going to have cowhands on here, but my hope is to have discussions like this with you about all sorts of people who suffer.
Yeah.
And the martial arts thing is a pretty easy thing to watch. Like, you watch the UFC on TV and you're like, well, that guy's getting punched in the face. He's pretty good at suffering. Like, it's pretty, like, all the cowboy westerns and the videos we put out and all the stuff, it's real romanticized. Like, you're watching the best parts. And so it makes it romantic. It's like the Wild West or whatever. But you watch a UFC fight, there ain't no romance in that, son. It's all death and blood and misery. Pretty easy to watch that dude grind.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's interesting. That's fun.
If I had to say one thing, probably the biggest thing I would say about having a long-term partnership with Nicole, and something that I didn't feel prepared for, was like repair after fighting. Like, how do you come back to being one after you have a fight? And like, because I feel like respect is very important,
Extremely.
and exactly. So, I wouldn't recommend anybody being in a relationship where they feel like they are being disrespected like that. I feel like that would be soul crushing, to be constantly enduring, disrespect. So, but, you can't take everything as a slight, and, you kind of get to understand, like, hey, she's not feeling well. Hey, it's this time of the month, things are going on.
It's a bad day.
Yeah. Maybe
it's a bad day.
Maybe I can give her some grace, situation. And when there is, a legitimate disagreement, or it, turns into an argument, like, I don't even think those are bad things. Like, those are important parts of a relationship where y'all have a conflict of values or interests, and like knowing how to repair those situations and to like move forward. I guess I would say, like, an example I would use, like, if every time you go right, you get hit, well, let's try going left and see how that works. So, understand. I think the big thing we try to do when we're repairing is try to put ourselves in each other's shoes. Like, why can I feel what you were feeling? Like, in that argument, like, what was it about what I said? Did that make you feel disrespected? And how can we go about, not, disrespecting or undervaluing each other, and, repairing and not letting it spiral into, a war, or, cause, I can't be angry very long. It makes me sleepy. So I'll lose any long-term argument. I'm kind of like, we argued 3 hours later, like, so what you want to go out to eat tonight? Like, oh, you're still mad? Oh, I thought we were good. And so that was something that I had to have a lot of help with. And when I had an aunt, she passed, and my mom had a really rough time with it. Like, and so I was like, maybe we should, get some counseling. So I was taking her to a counselor, and he was great, and he had given us a lot of tools, and we felt like we were in a good spot. And then my dad end up dying. So, we kind of kept going with it. And, well, my dad had a stroke. So we were able to be counseled by him, kind of doing the process of my dad's kind of dying. And it was like crazy helpful because I didn't, neither one of us understood grief and what it meant to grieve somebody and what it meant to, maybe have to let them go, but they're still kind of there, so it was very helpful. It was so helpful that I kind of realized that I'm not always the best communicator of my words or feelings. And so I learned a lot from working with a therapist and working with a counselor on how to but it basically came down to, he would have this saying like, let stuff roll off your back like a old coot, like some kind of waterproof bird. And just not taking slights off everything. And being assertive, having boundaries, and being and kind of understanding my communication flaws and how I perceive how I'm communicating versus somebody else, how they perceive how I'm communicating, if that makes sense. Like I might think I'm being helpful, but they might perceive it as I'm not being helpful. And but all in all, I would say that giving your partner grace and understanding how to repair and after arguments are some of the most helpful things. And because I guess ideally you would want to have similar values with your partner, before y'all engaged in, shared housing, or
have a kid.
Exactly.
Oh. Woo.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm telling you, that changes a lot.
Yeah. What if your wife's, our kid's not drinking water, and you're like, what?
Hold up. What? That's a funny example. I'm sure there's somebody out there that is happening to. It's funny. Pretty much, you said having grace for your partner. And what we call that, like the principle that I apply to that ideology, right? So the grace factor, which grace is forgiveness without deserving it, pretty much. Meaning that your spouse can be a total asshole to you and you're okay. We call that having an understanding that their heart for me is good and them having an understanding that my heart for them is good, even on a bad day. Yeah. And this is a daily choice. You wake up in the morning and you either decide my wife's heart for me is good. Her heart for me is good. And if you wake up and choose that, everything that comes out of their mouth is seen through the filter of no matter what, they love me anyway. And that's a personal choice. Like I can wake up and get butthurt about all sorts of things.
For sure.
That we're not meant to get butthurt on. And the same goes for Kara. And she says to me all the time, if she said it once, she said it 100 times in the last 10 years. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I mean, I swear, bro. Oh my gosh. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it, dude. I don't know. I'm just communicating in the way I know to communicate. And I think one of the biggest things, this goes for martial arts or roping or marriage or fatherhood or whatever, is understanding, knowing that you don't know. So be willing to learn. Like, if you're willing to learn and keep an open mind with all of these things, learning how to communicate, learning how to argue, learning how to get over it, learning how to love somebody, like all of those things are crucial to a relationship. especially when it comes to what your kids watch. So as your children grow up, you know, that like Estella's version of her husband is going to be a clear depiction of how you treat Nicole. The same goes for Wiley. Like his version of what he's supposed to be as a man is what he watches when I interact with my wife. And people don't take this serious enough. Like they're freaking watching all of it. They're watching all of it.
Especially the parts you don't want them to see.
Oh, 100%. And being able to walk over there and say, buddy, daddy was wrong.
Yeah.
I shouldn't talk to mama like that. You're right. I'm sorry. You know, because then they know, like you got to say it or they don't know. They don't know it's wrong. It's like, you can just talk crazy to whoever you want to. That's not a thing, you know? Anyways, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Agreed.
Well, for anybody in the Tri-County area, the Montgomery area, tell them about jiu-jitsu class, tell them about Next Gen, what you got going on there, and tell them where they can find you.
Awesome. Yeah. Like I said, right now I am teaching every Sunday at Next Gen in Prattville. And Next Gen is karate, Tong Sung Do style martial arts. Man, it's great community. Master Todd, he's the lead instructor there. He's great. He's a very generous guy, and he's given me the opportunity to start teaching grappling arts on some Sundays, and we've had a great turnout, and it's a product we want to continue to develop and, you know, have a good product for everybody. And, you know, our main goals are, you know, to teach everybody how to grapple, but, you know, initially from a self-defense standpoint, you know, and then kind of teach the art of it. And I like to think about it like it's a little bit of judo, it's a little bit of wrestling, and it's a lot of jiu-jitsu. You know, we go over, you know, submissions, whether they're joint locks, whether they're, you know, chokes. And I'm definitely looking to, you know, kind of go into the punch defense, you know, defending against punches on the ground. So we have a lot of fun with it. It's very kid friendly, very family friendly. And our values are just mainly, you know, having good integrity and just having a good community. And so yeah, come check us out.
We definitely have that. It's really cool. It's unbelievable. It's been great for Wiley. It's been great for me. And we sure do appreciate all y'all's hard work. I think I'm supposed to have Todd on in the next couple of weeks. So it'll be fun to get to visit with him. He's a little older. How old are you, Demarcus?
31.
Okay. So we're almost the same age. I turned 33 next week. So we're kind of in the same realm, but Todd's a little older than us, has older kids. He's a wise, kind man. And he is freaking great at teaching kids. Like, it's pretty fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. I've been learning so much, like, just his ability to teach and, you know, give information. I've been learning a lot. And like I said, that's definitely something I want to work on, is improving the product that I'm selling to y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's coming along nicely. It's a lot of fun. Jiu-jitsu is not for the faint of heart.
Hey,
but
buddy.
Anyways, hang on. I'll let him talk to you once that's what he's itching over here for. Anyways, guys, thank y'all so much for watching. If you want to check out Next Gen Martial Arts, we'll have that linked below. If you want to reach out to Demarcus, just email me at dalton@310edu.com and I'll get it over to him. As always, guys, we'll see you in the next video.